Welcome to the next episode of Frank Grayton on YouTube. Are you a leader who's challenged with getting the most out of your people? Today, I'm going to talk about 3 processes that you can have that will help you to be the most effective as a leader. Effective as a leader. So in this things of that we can do, number 1, the first process is recruit the right people. You have the responsibility as a leader of making sure that if you're going to reach the goal that you have, is that I have the right people on your team. You have to make sure that, like I do, that I've got the right people on my team. Now, this matters whether you have inherited the team or you had the responsibility of putting your team together. Sometimes we are able to put the team together and we recruit the people that we want to work with us. Other times we step into a position and the team is already there. Either way, the leader, the head must determine that the people who are on my team are the right people. Now, they have to be the right people that's going to help us to accomplish it. It's two things that I'm looking for in order to determine that they are the right people. Number 1, aptitude. Do they have the skill set to do what we need done? I need them to type a letter. Can they use Word? Can they use some type of word processing application? I need them to make a document. Can they use Canva or some other, can they use Adobe or something like that? Do they have the skill set to do what we need? We need a lead singer. Can they hold a note? And should they be in the front of the choir rather than the back of the choir? Can they hold meetings? Do they have the ability to public speak? Whatever it is that the job requires, do they have the aptitude in order to be able to do it? As long as we're trying to be effective as leaders and we leave people in position who do not have the aptitude to do the job that we need done, we are hindering our ability to be effective as a leader. The second part of determining is this the right person is not only their aptitude, but their attitude. There's some folks who have the aptitude for what we need. She can type the letter, but her attitude isn't right. She can sing the song. He can lead the song, but his attitude isn't right. They have the ability to run a meeting, except that their attitude is not the right thing for the position that we're in, which then comes to no matter how good a person is, no matter how much aptitude they have, sometimes they're just not capable of doing the job. So I like to say it this way. First, I'm looking for capability, and then I'm looking for willingness. If they are capable, but they're not willing, they're not the right person. If they are willing, but they're not capable, they are still not the right person. Here's one of the ways that I like to say it. You will never get the right results with the wrong people. You can write that down. You'll never get the right results when you have the wrong people in place. And though it is challenging, sometimes we're holding it together with dental floss. We got it together with duct tape, and we need all the people that we have. But sometimes when you have the wrong people on your team, they are demoralizing all of the other people on your team. And you would actually get done more with fewer people if you would subtract the wrong person off your team. Those are some of the things that I think are the biggest responsibilities of a leader is number 1, make sure I've got the right person on my team. Number 2 is to train the right people. Once I've determined that they've got the attitude and they've got the aptitude, they're capable and they're willing, now it's time to set vision. It's time to make sure that everyone who is on the team has the same goal, has the same understanding of what we're trying to accomplish. It's not going to work for you if you have the aptitude and the attitude, and yet everyone isn't clear on what we're trying to accomplish. It's the managers, it's the leaders, it's the pastors, it's the head of the ministry's responsibility to make sure that all who are working on your team, that they are crystal clear in what you all are trying to accomplish, and they understand what their role on the team is. And that's your responsibility as a manager, is to train the people. Sometimes we have the right people with the right attitude, but they have not been trained and they're not as effective as they could be because we have not taken time to train them and to set expectations and to set vision for them and to demand excellence from them. Sometimes people just need you to set the goal, and when they understand what we're trying to accomplish, they excel at trying to do it. And so we have to make sure that the person who is in the position is the right person, but that they also we've poured into their lives. We've dumped into them vision. We've dumped into them excellence, and we've dumped into them an idea of what we're trying to accomplish. Now, you cannot train the wrong person. When you have a person who does not have the right attitude, you will spend countless hours trying to train someone who cannot be trained or who will not be trained. Sometimes you're trying to train them and they don't want to be trained, which makes choosing the right person that much more critical. And sometimes it's hard to determine that you're the wrong person and I need to let you go because I don't have time to train people who won't be trained, to train people who cannot be trained. If you're going to be the most effective as a leader, you cannot wait until it's time to do whatever it is that you're doing. Choirs rehearse before it's time to sing. Preachers get ready to preach before it's time to preach. Leaders who want to be the most effective train prior to its time for performance. We do not wait until performance time to try to make deposits into our people. And so as a leader, you must be clear that this is when I'm going to train the right people. I've recruited the right people. I've screened the people that are on my team. And now it's time to make deposits into them. And it can't be haphazard. It has to be on a regular basis when we are making these deposits into our team. And then lastly, it is to hold your people accountable. It is to say that this is what we expect. And at some regular increment, we will slow down to take a look at your performance. We expected you to be here at 7:30. How often are you here at 7:30? We expected 100 of these completed by the end of the month. How many did you do? We expected this, A, B, or C. And because we are taking a look at what we expected from you, we are able to see that not only we expected you to do A, B, and C, but we have looked at your work and you've actually done A, B, C, D, and E. You've exceeded what we were expecting you to do. And so now holding you accountable isn't necessarily a bad thing. We're coming in to say, man, you've done a great job. Keep up the great work. Here's a gift card for a cup of coffee. Whatever that might be, but holding a people accountable does not have to be negative. It can simply be firm. It's to say, hey, we were expecting you to do X, Y, and Z. Can you explain to me why you didn't do that? We were expecting you to go left. You went right. Can you help us to understand why you went right instead of left? That's just holding someone accountable. And often we don't want to hold people accountable because we think, well, they'll quit the team and they'll resign and they won't do it anymore. But if the overall goal is to reach your maximum potential, then holding people accountable has to be a part of the arsenal of a leader. You've recruited the right people. You have made deposits into them and you help them to see your vision. You've trained them. The third step, the third responsibility is to hold your people accountable. Now, inevitably, there's always a person who doesn't live up to your expectations. There's always a person who does less than what is acceptable. And as a leader, as a manager, as a pastor, as the head of something, you have to have a process that that you're going to use when people do less than you expected, when they won't be accountable. So I use a 4-step process. You can adopt this if you don't already have a process. And number one, I'm going to have an informal conversation. This is just a conversation to say, hey, I thought you were going to be here by 8 o'clock. You didn't get here at 8:15. What happened? And I notice pretty regularly that you're coming in 15 to 20 minutes after you're supposed to be here. Are you clear that you're supposed to be here by 8 o'clock? Hey, I was understanding that you would reply to all email within 24 hours of email. There are people who are saying they're not getting a reply from you for 48 to 72 hours after. That's less than the standard that we've set. So you rehearse what the standard is to the person, and then you find out, well, why are you doing less than what we accepted? And do you understand that this is what we expect? And should I expect that you're going to live up to our expectations from now on? Okay, so this was April 1st. Nothing. This won't be in your file. This won't be in your jacket or anything. If the performance does not improve, the second time we're going to document it. I can document that by an email. I can document that by a letter. It can be a write-up form, but some type of way it needs to be documented. And in that documentation, I'm going to say that previously we had a conversation, and now I'm officially recording that we've had a conversation about you coming into late, 15 to 20 minutes late, continually, that you do not respond to emails within the amount of time that you're supposed to respond. Whatever the infraction is, wherever it is that they fail to live up to expectations, we're documenting that. And I'm going to hang this in your file. I want you to sign it that, yes, we've documented that there has been an official conversation about your performance or your lack of performance. And then thirdly, if that goes a while, then thirdly, we're going to suspend you. So I'm going to give you a few days to go home and think about it. I'm going to relieve you of your duties for a while. You can take a month off, a week off, or whatever, and think about, do you really want to do this? And if you do, that you will be here by 8 o'clock, and that you will respond to email within the time. Whatever that infraction is, that there is something that says your performance is unacceptable. And then fourthly, if after they have returned from the suspension and their performance still does not merit them staying in their position, then to say, you know what, I've talked to so-and-so and they think you could help them in their department. I'm going to relieve you from your duties in my department, and you can go over and help Sister so-and-so. You can go over and help Mr. Brown. You can go over and help this person in his department because your services in my department are no longer needed. And we don't like doing this. We don't like doing this in business. We don't like doing this in the church or in ministry. And we certainly don't like doing this as managers. But a manager who's going to be the most effective will hold people accountable and give them an opportunity when they do not want to be held accountable to go to work somewhere else. Obviously, what we expect and what you expect does not line up. And as a result of that, I'm going to give you an opportunity to go see if you can fit along with someone else. Those are the three things that I think are the biggest responsibilities of a manager. Certainly, managers, leaders, ministry heads have a long list of responsibilities. But I think three of the major responsibilities is to recruit the right people, to train those people, and then to hold those people accountable. I'm interested in hearing what you have to say are some of the other responsibilities of managers and how leaders and those who are at the head position, other things that you think are critical for their success. I'm Frank Grayton on YouTube, and until next time, peace. You've been watching Frank Grayton on YouTube. Click the subscribe button for more future content.